was the origin of Pink Key Real Estate, and what first inspired you to start your own brokerage?
I value my time, and I would say that I'm highly calendared. It gives you the opportunity to not only respect your time, but other people's time. If I set a time to meet with someone, then I'm going to meet with them. They know that I'm going to show up.
What advice would you give to a new agent? How to decide how they're going to brand themselves, how they're going to get started?
I started my brokerage because my mom was sick, and I was at another brokerage, and I was the office mentor, and I felt like
Welcome to Own the Room, the podcast where women step into spaces with confidence, clarity, and conviction. I'm Pamela Santy.
And I'm Gayle Phillips. Here we spotlight women who change the energy the moment they walk in. Leaders who combine excellence with heart and success and with service.
Today's guest is a true industry powerhouse and a champion for home ownership and fair housing. She's the kind of leader who doesn't just sell homes, she changes futures.
We're honored to welcome Sabrina Brown. She's an accomplished real estate broker, national speaker, and respected industry leader. Sabrina is the founder and broker owner of Pink Key Real Estate, a boutique brokerage in Fresno, California, known for its deep commitment to fair housing and first-time home ownership.
She's also the co-owner of Pure Real Estate School and the owner of Out Loud Real Estate Training, where she trains and mentors agents and brokers across the country.
Sabrina has earned national recognition, including the National Association of Realtors Fair Housing Champion Award. She teaches courses such as Bias Override and At Home with Diversity, helping elevate our industry standards.
Her leadership spans across organizations. President-elect of the National Association of Realtors, board member for Habitat for Humanity, Greater Fresno, vice chair of strategic planning and finance for the California Association of Realtors, chair of the Broker Engagement Council at NAR. I'm getting exhausted here. And a leader within the National Women's Council of Realtors.
And I guess we need to edit that a little bit. You're the president of the National Association of Realtors, and that just finished yesterday, you said.
yes, yesterday.
So beyond all the titles, you're a wife, you're a mother, you're a mother of six.
Mother of six.
Oh my gosh.
Eight grandchildren.
Oh my gosh.
Must have had one since we wrote this.
Yeah.
So you love pink, shoes, and Jeeps.
Yes.
Sabrina, welcome to Own the Room. We are so happy that you're here.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to chat.
Oh, it's certainly our honor to have you here.
Sabrina, what was the origin of Pink Key Real Estate, and what first inspired you to start your own brokerage?
Oh, that's a long story. I don't know how much time we have. So initially, I started my brokerage because my mom was sick. And I was at another brokerage, and I was the office mentor. And I felt like I was going to have to take care of my mom, and I wasn't going to have time to really, truly mentor the agents. So I decided, you know what? I have my broker's license. I'm going to go out on my own. That's how it really started. And then it just morphed into something else. It morphed into the opportunity to really have a brokerage that was shaped and looked like how I perceived the industry to be and how I would like to see the industry. That really fed into education for realtors, education for the community, and really focused on first-time home ownership and new agents coming into the business.
Well, you've always been a loud voice, a convincing voice. I don't know if loud is the right word, but certainly a heard voice in the community. And a natural leader, obviously, because as you're saying that, I thought, oh my gosh, I thought she was the broker. It was Brown
and Brown
Real Estate. And I thought you were the broker of that. So you had a commanding presence even back then before. I thought you just changed from Brown and continued on with the same group, but that's not true, right?
No, it is. No. I was a broker owner of Brown Real Estate for 10 years.
Okay.
And so I really wanted to change the name to really reflect like my personality and my beliefs. And I believe there's power in pink. And even though I was Brown and Brown Real Estate, our branding had always been pink. And so I wanted to switch it up and really emphasize the power in pink. And that's why Pink Key came into play. And, I think that pink is the key to all things real estate. So we became Pink Key Real Estate.
So Pink Key Real Estate and just the color of pink kind of embodies that feminine spirit.
Yes.
And that's what we're sort of talking about, that you were wanting to become more in alignment from the previous name to who you truly are, what you represent, and that's that female powerhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. Brown and Brown, that's my husband and myself. But that Pink Key, that's 100% me. And when you say loud, I do think it is about using your voice, and it could be soft or it could be loud. But, at the end of the day, it's the words that you use. It's what you put out there, and how people perceive it. And so I just really think that having the name that fits me empowered me to go out and do even more.
So that brings us to something that part of your mission, besides female empowerment, is also, and first-time home buyers, but it's also fair housing.
Yeah.
So you are using your voice in helping elevate the issue of fair housing. How did you get interested in that particular part of what's going on in real estate?
That's an interesting story. So, when people think of fair housing, they always think of nationality, race. It's much more than that. And, figuring out what that looks like for someone else that is looking to purchase a home and how they're treated, how they're perceived. And I will tell you, we all have these unconscious biases. And so I can give a story, like I will just completely tell on myself. I had a floor call. Remember when we used to get floor calls?
Oh, yes.
I had this floor call, and it was an individual that had already been pre-approved. They wanted to look at homes, and he had told me that he had gone through several realtors and wasn't able to really find anybody to help him. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll be happy to help you. So what did I do? I jumped in my car. I went out there to show him a property. It was himself, his fiance, and their 2 kids. Well, when I got there, I'm going to be honest, it was a little scary. He looked like a gangbanger. And I was like, I don't even want to get out of my car. And I prejudged him. And I thought about that because I've been prejudged because of, who I am and what I look like. And I thought, well, that's not fair. That's not right. And why am I sitting here? He called me. He has a pre-approval letter. I've talked to his lender, and I am judging him before I even have had like a face-to-face conversation with him. Needless to say, I did get out of my car. I did help him. I helped him and his fiance purchase their first home. And I also attended their wedding, and they refer clients to me all the time. And, people really remember how you make them feel. And I think that's very important in this business. And everybody deserves the opportunity to own a home if they choose to do so. And as realtors, we're supposed to help everybody that wants to be helped. And that was my first, I thought about it, how many other people are not getting the help that they deserve because, of the way they look or their nationality or whatever that may be. And so that's what started me on the journey of, fair housing.
I think that the majority of people don't understand how successful realtors have a heart of service.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always felt from you, Sabrina, that you have a real heart of service, because nobody's paying you that long list of credits that we gave you. Maybe you do receive a paycheck for some of, but most of it is volunteer, and you having a heart of service. One of the things I was listening to you talking on another podcast was about your very first client who was homeless. Can you share that story with us? I thought that was so great.
Well, this was the same person.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was the same person. When you were telling that story, I thought, that was your very first client?
That was my very first client at Brown & Brown Real Estate. That's when I left the brokerage that I was with, started my own company, and my very first Brown & Brown client, he was homeless, and so had been homeless, and, he had straightened himself out, and he had gotten in the position to buy a home. And so, just to think that's the stories that, we don't tell.
Yeah.
Those are the stories that really honestly need to be highlighted and focused on, because that really shows the power of home ownership. And
really does,
yes.
I have a similar story. I was interviewing a realtor, and he was Hispanic, and I was thinking this is a new realtor. He wanted to make I assumed he wanted to make lots of money. He wanted to sell expensive homes, and I was talking to him about the path that I assumed he wanted. As I was talking to him, he said, I want to be able to help the people from my community because he is Hispanic. He wants to help that first-time home buyer that's trying to get into a home for the first time. And I had completely misread my own personal biases, my own mistake. And so your story reminds me of when I made a similar error in judgment and jumped to a conclusion that I was way off. So I appreciate you sharing that story.
Just a great quote. And I got this off of when I was researching you, that you had quoted Maya Angelou. It says, the ache for a home lives in all of us, a safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned. I thought that is so true, because if you doubt how true that is, let that home fall into chaos. And it's really hard to get centered if you're not centered at home. Isn't that right? So I thought that was such a wonderful quote about owning a home. The other thing that you said is that the myth in the Black community is that home ownership is just a dream. And then I did a little arrow about that first client of yours being homeless and how you made that dream come true for him, changing lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, we all change lives every day. And whether it's the first-time home buyer, the first-time investor, someone that's buying a business, we're providing a service for them to actually better serve their families. And so, or their community, or their dream, whatever that may be. And so I just tend to focus on first-time home buyers and new agents, where others focus on, investments or people that want to flip or all of those things. So I think it takes a village to really make sure that the community is served. And I think that we all have our specialties and places in our heart. And when you serve from your heart, you serve more people.
Yes, definitely.
So you sit at many leadership tables, NAR, CAR, Council of Women Realtors. The list goes on, Association of Realtors here locally. What perspective do you bring to to that table when there's at those leadership tables? What's uniquely you?
I think that everybody that sits around a leadership table has different life experiences, and they bring those perspectives. And I know that my life experiences make me who I am. So I think my perspectives are from my point of view, from my life. And I think that if you have people that sit around the table that are all the same, nothing changes for the better.
Exactly.
And so the perspective I bring is to really look outside the box and really look outside yourself, because not only are people learning about my perspectives, I'm learning about their perspectives. And I think that's what the difference is with you. When you're sitting at these leadership tables, it's not about you anymore. It's about the other people around the table and really initiating change and conversation.
And if you have somebody who's around that table that is self-serving, they're immediately exposed, because you have hearts of service sitting there looking to improve their community. How in the world do you have 6 kids and do all that you do. Now, some of your children are grown. Or
They're all grown.
Maybe they're all grown. Oh, thank the Lord, right?
They're all grown. And so, and I think that this, people always say, oh, I want to get in this business. Either they say, oh, I want to get in this business and make a lot of money. I want to get in this business so I can get my time back.
Right.
And in reality, you can do those things. You can. And for me, I think getting into this business was the opportunity to set my own schedule so I could have the family life that I wanted. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to answer to anybody as far as, if I wanted to go to open house, a teacher's open house, or a soccer game or a football game. I didn't have to ask for permission. And so how do I do all the things that I do? I have no idea. I just do them.
So Sabrina, for anybody in our audience that is listening to us today, and they're a newer real estate agent, and we have got just years and years of experience here. And so we see so many new agents who come to us and come to you, who will say, well, I just want to own my time. And then they find themselves working 7 days a week and evenings and giving up family time. So we have learned over the years how to own our time. I could go on and on about that. And it's certainly something we try to pour into our agents. But how do you own your time? How do you set those boundaries and decide, no, it's more important for me to go to that teacher's conference, which you're not doing now, but thank goodness, But 10 years ago, you probably were.
Yeah.
So how do you set those boundaries as a real estate agent and a mother and a wife?
I think it's all about communication and letting people know exactly what time frame you have available. So a lot of times coming in as a new agent, you let your clients run you. Mm-hmm. You are letting them run your business. Well, guess what? You're the professional, so you need to run your business. You need to set your schedule and you need to communicate that. So when I travel, I let people know that, what, I'm not going to be available from this time to this time. These are the times I'm available. And, if you're communicating that, the expectations are there. Mm-hmm. And so people are not disappointed because they know exactly when you're available. They know exactly when you'll be able to get back to them. And that's how you kind of own your time. But when you don't share that information, when you don't communicate, and now you're too busy to answer your phone, or you don't get back to that email in the time frame that somebody expects you to because you haven't set those expectations, that's where you have the problem.
Right. One of the things that we do scripts and stuff like that. And we deal with a lot of cold leads here at Santy Phillips Group. And one of the dialogues that we teach, which I have really been using this in my own life, is when we're answering the phone and we're saying, I understand that you want to see 123 Main Street. What time would you like to see that? Oh, I want to see that in half an hour. Yeah. Okay, well, if the home or the seller is not available in a half an hour, what other day or time do you have available for us to show you the home? Even if I know I'm available, and even if I know the house is vacant, what I'm doing is I'm sticking to a routine that allows me to have flexibility in my schedule. So I think that is really a winning formula for that is a really strong message to newer agents today. And in order to do what you've done, especially raising that many children, you must be a master of that at this point.
I value my time. And I would say that I'm highly calendared.
Yes.
And
are you?
I'm very, very highly calendared.
If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. And I may squeeze something in every once in a while, but for the most part, I'm highly calendared. And it's also respecting other people's time. Mm-hmm. And that's what your calendar, it gives you the opportunity to not only respect your time, but other people's time. If I set a time to meet with someone, then I'm going to meet with them. They know that I'm going to show up.
Right.
I'm not going to say, oh, I'm double booked, I can't be there.
Right.
So I think just owning your time is showing respect to yourself and to the people that are in your life, whether that's a client or family. Right. And I schedule my family too.
So I have a question for you. How has motherhood then shaped your leadership?
That's a good question. I think it's just taught me, I don't know if motherhood has shaped my leadership or if my leadership has shaped my motherhood. Because, after going into leadership, you learn things of how to, I don't want to say manage people, but work with people and different personalities. And I will tell you, each child has a different personality. And then having some of those leadership skills and bringing those home, I think helped versus vice versa.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. And even with our families, if we don't communicate what our schedules are, then they're going to plan stuff. And then we're going to come back and say, because, I've got this calendar that Gayle and I live by. And sometimes I overlook sharing that with my family. And they're like, oh, I need you to be at a doctor's appointment. And I look at them and I go, well, I can't, because I've already got this day booked. So it's so important to share your calendar as well. Communicate. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. I had a question for you. We had talked earlier about some things that were going on the national level. You just came back from Houston, from the NAR conference, and there were some big things going on there. But what conversations matter most to you at the national level right now?
I think the conversations are about serving our clients and making sure that we are looking out for our clients versus what is being put out in the media that we're that we're just looking to make money, that we're not really helping the community. So I think having conversations about what we do are the most important, about advocacy, how we're fighting for home ownership rights, how we're fighting for fair housing. Those are the conversations that matter because those are the conversations that come back and directly affect our communities.
Besides being on those leadership meetings, you're doing that through your training. You're a national trainer. So you want to talk about what you're doing at the national level, the kinds of things that you're training around, and or what you see as needs.
Okay, so that's a big question. So it's a big shift, going from, I look at training as an opportunity to help more people in the community because I'm training more agents to be either more productive, to really look at growing their business, therefore helping more people in the community versus me helping one or two people. So as I look at it, I'm training on fair housing. I'm training on productivity. I'm doing business planning. I do unconscious bias, just things that, we don't typically think about. So doing that training, I have had a big shift in my training. Come next year, January, you will see some big changes in the training that's coming from my company, and it's Out Loud Real Estate Training. It's Sabrina Brown Out Loud. And I will say that, when you said loud, it is loud.
I knew something.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. But yeah, it really is loud because sometimes you have to use your voice to make a difference. And a lot of times we're scared to do that. And I want people to understand that there's power in their voices and not to be afraid to use them to make a difference. And so I'll be training. There's some training modules coming out on that as well. But yeah, looking for some big shifts in my training direction. And that's something that I truly, really enjoy and love doing.
Are there any hints you want to drop?
Wait for January 27th.
Well, okay. I think this podcasts are all dropping around early
January 22nd.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching for the directions that you're going.
Sabrina, expand a little. You said biased unconsciousness. Yeah.
How does it show up for me is really honestly, just to keep it really simple, not prejudging people, not seeing someone and directly creating the story about them without actually having a conversation.
And we have heard over my lifetime, I've heard so many examples of the poor, scraggly looking guy that came in that was a bazillionaire, and the agent who wasn't even willing to speak to them because they went, there's no way they can afford to buy a house, or you not wanting to get out of your car because you were biased against the way that the young man looked.
Yeah.
I was,
and we all have that.
Yeah, my husband and I were shopping for a car in Southern California, and we just come from the pool or the beach or something like that. We drive up to a Chrysler dealership, I think, looking for a minivan because we had little children at the time, and we looked pretty scraggly. And we were paying cash for this car, brand new van, and the salesman clearly had a bias because of how we looked that we couldn't afford to pay cash for that Chrysler. So he didn't give us the time of day. We took ourselves to another dealership where we were treated differently. So it comes in all kinds of different ways and shows up.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
definitely. I think it's really funny because the very first, I would call my very first office job that I ever had was because of somebody else's unconscious bias. So I worked for a clothing store, and there was a couple that came in, and none of the other saleswomen wanted to help this couple. And I said, oh, yeah, they sent me over there because I was temporary. Those Christmas time, I was temporary. And it was a couple, and she came in looking for a dress for dinner. And, he had on construction boots and jeans. And, I spent a lot of time with her. She tried on quite a few dresses. I just gave her dresses. I never looked at the prices, nor did she. But we had a great time. And she told him, oh, you need to hire her for your Kaiser job. And I was like, okay, because I was working there. I was going to school at the time. And so just had a conversation with them. He gave me his business card. And they never asked me, did I know how to type? They didn't ask me if I knew how to work a computer. Any of those things. The only question he asked me is if you had a job that paid you more money than you were making here and work with your school schedule, would you go? And I thought, yeah, but I didn't even think they were serious. He told me to call somebody on Monday named Trina. I called this person, and that's how I ended up on the Kaiser job site when they were building the medical office buildings. From having that conversation, he owned the construction company, and he handpicked all of his employees.
Wow.
And they paid me very well. And I was there until they finished that project. And they asked me to go to Antioch for their next project, but I was still in school and wasn't able to do that. But, you never know who you're sitting across from. You never know who you're having a conversation with. And you can't judge a book by its cover.
No, you cannot. And so that is just a huge lesson how in serving others, how opportunities come to you, how doors open.
Yeah, absolutely. That opened a big door for me. It gave me a huge opportunity. I was able to make connections, and, that really changed the trajectory.
Oh, absolutely. And how old were you when that happened?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know. Probably in my 20s.
Yeah. I can't imagine how that led to the next step in your life, and then the doors just continued to open, because really it was because you continued to show up.
Yeah.
In 100%. Were showing up like you did there. It didn't matter to you. No one else wanted to wait on these people, and look at the door that it opened for you. Yeah. And now there's not a lot of relationship to that time or that period, but without it, who knows what trajectory your life would have taken.
That's so true, because I truly believe your life experiences make you who you are. So
Absolutely. So, now, Gayle and I know I'm totally off script, but so Gayle and I, when we started our company, we started it for our daughters, and our, my daughter came to work for us, her daughter came to work for us, and it's been really a wonderful experience for all of us, and has taken us down different roads. But how about you? I mean, with the 6 children, is anybody following in your footsteps in real estate, working with you?
No.
Or on a national level doing anything? They don't have your heart of service?
They do definitely have hearts of service, but none of them are in real estate. But one of my sons, he's investing in real estate. He really understands that. So he is buying up properties wherever he can. He has properties in the Bay Area, Idaho. He just bought like a recreation area in Tennessee. So it has boat slips and campground. So he just bought that. So he's not in real estate, selling real estate, but he is definitely investing in real estate.
But he realizes that true wealth can be built in real estate. It is amazing this job that we've chosen in real estate and the impact that it has. And as we look back over our life in real estate and how our influence and our relationships with these people, like you were saying, that you've been to their weddings, you've been to their baby showers. We have the similar stories. As a matter of fact, I love this story. I was working with, it was a Zillow call, and I was working with this young couple, and they were just truly adorable. Young. They were both, he had just got a job as a city planner, and she was going to school to become a licensed nutritionist. And he had never lived in a home. And I didn't find this out until towards the end, but his family they'd be perfect for that Cal HAFA loan because his family had never owned a piece of real estate. And so I got to be part of changing generations to come. And what an impact. And then like 8 years later, they contacted me. Now they have 2 children. I've been invited to the baby showers and to sell their home so they can move on to a big job that he got up in Sacramento. So it is wonderful to be such an integral part of people's lives and where they're going and what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite part of all of this?
I think seeing the light bulb click, and what I mean by that is if I'm working with a first-time home buyer and they figure out that they really can do this, that there is a path to home ownership, that really excites me. The other thing that excites me is maybe a new agent coming in and realizing like, yes, I can do this. This can be my career. I can help people. That's what really excites me. Just being involved in like people's lives. Like we really are involved in people's lives when we help them build, their legacy, whether that is in business, whether that is in home ownership. We are truly making a difference. That's what excites me.
What's the hardest part of what you do?
Time. I think that's the hardest part is really, you always want to say yes. And so having to say no sometimes is the hard part.
Oh, I so agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I know personally from that because we try to connect time after time to have coffee, lunch, catch up with each other. And you're always traveling to Washington, D.C. or training somewhere in Chicago or doing something really. And I have to tell you, I envy all of that travel that you do and all the people that you get to meet. What has made the biggest impression on you from all of this?
From all of this is that like all across the country, I'm just thinking all across the country, the realtors that I come in contact with, they really want to make a difference and a positive difference and a positive change. And so I think that is really exciting, knowing that, we're all in it for the right reasons.
And if you're not, it shows. Yeah, it comes out. So we were talking about Pink Key, and we know brand. People are always, there's 2 subjects that people are always talking to us about as realtors. One is using our CRM. What's a CRM?
Yeah.
And branding and branding ourselves. So you said here in the pink jacket today, the name of your company is Pink Key.
Yeah.
And so when we think pink, we think Sabrina. We really do. I mean, if the word pink comes up in real, so you've just done an outstanding job at branding yourself. What, for a new agent, what advice would you give to a new agent about how to decide how they're going to brand themselves, how they're going to get started?
I would say be yourself. Be your absolute self. Because when I wasn't myself, nobody knew who I was because I tried to blend in. And so as a new agent coming in, be authentic. and be who you are, and you will attract the people that you're supposed to help. Don't build your brand around, the people you think you want to help. Brand yourself, be yourself, and attract the people that are attracted to you and want to work with you.
Yeah.
You can't fake it.
That's such great advice.
It truly is.
Yeah.
Sabrina, your story shows what happens when a woman brings her full self, her passion for equity, her leadership, your advocacy into every room.
You're opening doors not only to home ownership, but to representation, empowerment, and generational change, which we were talking about. I love that.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience, your wisdom, your knowledge, and yourself authentically.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that we got to have the opportunity for you to be in town when we were taping this podcast, which is a miracle in and of itself.
I know.
Thank you
It
so much
is.
for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And to our listeners, owning the room means leading with your values out loud. Until the next time, keep stepping forward with purpose.